Good evening and thank you for joining us. Huanggang Port was packed with northbound travelers until the early morning after several large-scale concerts held in the city. Responding to huge crowds, the Transport Department says it will continue implementing special traffic arrangements to facilitate cross-border travel for concertgoers returning to the mainland. Timothy Lee tells us more.
Footage from mainland social media platforms show revelers that remained stuck at Huanggang Port late into the night, with some concertgoers saying that many of them were still waiting for cross-border buses at 3 a.m. Motorists were not exempt from the effects of the crowded scene. This after a number of large-scale concerts were organized at Kai Tak Sports Park, the Hong Kong Coliseum, and Asia World Expo throughout the weekend. Some mainland visitors attending a concert at the Kai Tak venue stressed the crowded border was not much of concern. This tourist says she wasn't worried about the long queues at the border, adding that she can wait until the next morning. While this woman said she would prefer to stay overnight in the city after hearing about the crowd situation at Huanggang Port. Hong Kong Tourism Association Executive Director Timothy Cui, a former hotel CEO, noted many low-end to mid-range hotels in the city saw high rates of occupancy over the past 2 days, owing to the influx of concert revelers. He believes the Huanggang cross-boundary buses can strengthen their services, especially for routes going between the city center and Lok Ma Chau. Choi also proposed that the Hong Kong government communicate with the mainland about the possibility of permitting 24-hour cross-border services at some checkpoints during special occasions. Meanwhile, the Transport Department stated that the concert held at Kai Tak Sports Park ended later than previously arranged, with authorities reminding concertgoers to reserve time for making transfers to the MTR's East Rail line for departure via the Lowu control point. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
A passenger's power bank emitted smoke on an MTR train this morning. While no one was injured, a veteran electrical engineer has warned that lithium batteries can short-circuit and catch fire if damaged or dropped. The incident happened at around 8 a.m. on a train heading towards Chai Wan on the Island Line. One witness said the smoking portable charger was later doused by nearby passengers. In a similar case in March, a power bank allegedly caught fire in an overhead compartment of a Hong Kong Airlines plane flying from Hangzhou to Hong Kong. The Civil Aviation Department later barred passengers flying with local airlines from using power banks during flights or placing them in overhead bins. Veteran electrical and building services engineer Ho Wing-ip says if such devices catch fire, do not attempt to extinguish it with liquid, as this could lead to electric shock. It is recommended that the charger be covered with a fire blanket instead. The International Organization for Mediation, the world's first and only intergovernmental body dedicated to resolving international disputes through mediation, is poised to open its headquarters in Hong Kong as early as the end of this year. Deputy Secretary for Justice Horace Cheung believes the move can bring economic benefits to the city. The headquarters of the International Organization for Mediation will be located at the former Wan Chai police station, which is currently undergoing renovations. It's set to be opened between late this year and early next year. The signing ceremony of the Convention on the Establishment of the International Organization for Mediation is slated for May 30th in Hong Kong. Foreign Minister Wang Yi and senior representatives from nearly 60 countries across Asia, Africa, Latin America, and Europe, along with delegates from about 20 international organizations, including the United Nations, are expected to attend. On his social media page, Deputy Secretary for Justice Horace Cheung said the government has set up an interdepartmental task force to ensure the ceremony goes without hiccups. He added the headquarters will attract international organizations, NGOs, and academic institutions to Hong Kong, creating job opportunities for mediators, translators, researchers, and administrative staff. He noted the body's presence will elevate the city's status as a global mediation hub, aligning with the city's strategic development goals. He added the government hopes the mediation body will bolster the development of Hong Kong's international legal and dispute resolution services, will more global conferences and exhibitions, and also boost sectors including hospitality and catering. Financial Secretary Paul Chan said the presence of the mediation institution would enhance Hong Kong's appeal in international business and trade and support economic cooperation among countries that have joined the Belt and Road Initiative. The new capital investment entrance scheme has received more than 1,200 applications as of the end of April. The scheme is expected to bring in over 37 billion Hong Kong dollars, with 911 applicants being granted approval in principle to enter Hong Kong to complete their investments. Under the program, which was launched in March 2024, applicants must invest at least $30 million in designated asset classes. So far, 512 individuals have obtained full approval to stay in the SAR. Authorities introduced enhanced measures in March, including allowing family office assets to count towards the investment threshold. Since then, applications have jumped more than fourfold month on month. Among verified investments, 36% put their capital in funds, 28% invested in stocks, and 13% in bonds. Meanwhile, Financial Secretary Paul Chan says new equity fundraising in Hong Kong has topped $76 billion so far this year. That has marked a more than sevenfold increase over the same period in 2024. In a blog post, he noted, the past week also saw the world's largest IPO of 2025, the listing of EV battery giant CATL. Chan said the downgrade of the U.S. credit rating has renewed focus on the need for diversification, and China has provided a stable environment for international investors. The foreign ministers of Southeast Asia gathered in Kuala Lumpur today ahead of a summit of ASEAN leaders. Mohammed Hassan, foreign minister of host Malaysia, said the bloc must stay united to face the fallout from U.S. tariff hikes. Speaking at the opening of a meeting of ASEAN foreign ministers, Hassan said the bloc's members are among those nations most heavily affected by the U.S.-imposed tariffs. The countries of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, many of which rely on exports to the U.S., are reeling from American tariffs ranging from 10 to 49%. 6 of its 10 members are among the worst hit, with tariffs ranging from 32 to 49%. Hassan said ASEAN's unity is also crucial as the region grapples with impacts of climate change. ASEAN leaders will meet tomorrow, followed by a summit with Chinese Premier Li Qiang and leaders from several Gulf nations. U.S. President Donald Trump used the First Service Academy commencement address of his second term to laud graduating West Point cadets for their accomplishments and career choice. He also veered into a campaign-style recitation of political boasts and long-held grievances. At the end, he said he was going back to deal with Russia and China. Nasri Karim has more.
In his speech to West Point graduates, U.S. President Donald Trump told the 1,000 future officers that he had helped rebuild the U.S. Army to become the best fighting force in global history. Wearing his red MAGA cap, Trump covered a number of issues, even leaning into politics and promising the American military machine will dominate the world and spread democracy at the point of a gun. He closed his speech with a cryptic line about needing to deal with Russia and China without elaborating.
Through every challenge and every battle, you'll stand strong, you'll work hard, you'll stay tough, and you will fight, 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 and win, win, win. So I want to just congratulate you all. I'm going back now to deal with Russia, to deal with China. What's that all about? That's it. And to get you lots of victories. We're going to keep winning. This country is going to keep winning, and with you, the job is easy.
Trump earlier congratulated 8 cadets who had designed their own hypersonic rocket that traveled 150 kilometers, saying the technology belongs to the U.S. and was stolen by Russia during the Obama administration. In November, Russia fired what it said was a hypersonic Oreshnik missile against Ukraine that Moscow said was immune to any defense system. In 2022, China caught the U.S. military by surprise when it tested the technology. Trump reminded the cadets that he had approved a design for a $175 billion Golden Dome defense system aimed at blocking threats from China and Russia. China's foreign ministry has urged Washington to abandon the program and take action to enhance trust among the globe's major powers. Experts say the Golden Dome project could provoke other countries to develop similar systems or create more advanced weapons to overcome the missile shield. They say it could trigger an escalating arms race in space. Nasri Karim, TVB News.
Welcome back. Mainland Chinese director Bi Gan received a special award at the latest Cannes Film Festival for his epic fiction, Resurrection. The festival jury's president Juliette Binoche presented the award to Bi on Saturday, having described Resurrection as an exceptional movie. The Chinese director thanked the film's actors and production team and all those who have contributed to the film industry. The epic starring Jackson Yi and Shu Qi was the only Chinese-language film nominated for the French Film Festival's highest Palme d'Or award. Resurrection tells the story of a woman's journey in a future where humans have lost the ability to dream. This year's Palme d'Or went to the thriller It Was Just an Accident, directed by Iranian director Jafar Panahi. French authorities believe arson may have played a role in the power outage that threatened the closing celebrations at the Cannes Film Festival. Power was restored only hours before the parting ceremony, which included the coveted Palme d'Or. Traffic was disrupted as lights at the interchanges were out of action. Trains could not run, causing further chaos across a wide area of southeast France. More than 150,000 homes were without electricity for about 5 hours. The problem with the grid came hours after a fire near Cannes weakened systems. The end of the blackout was greeted with loud cheers and allowed music and big screens to operate again. The Hong Kong International Aviation Academy welcomed its first batch of trainee pilots home after they completed intensive training in the U.S. The school plans to explore mainland China as an alternative to U.S. flight training in the future. Timothy Lee reports.
The Hong Kong International Aviation Academy has welcomed back over 10 of its pioneering class of trainee pilots after they successfully completed an intensive 18-month training program in California. The graduation ceremony was held in the U.S. Certificates and scholarships were awarded to the graduates. Simon Lee, the president of the Academy, shared their excitement. He says this program addresses Hong Kong's pilot shortage by creating opportunities for local students. Looking ahead, the institution is looking to expand its training options. While maintaining rigorous Hong Kong Civil Aviation Department standards, the Academy is negotiating with mainland Chinese flight schools to potentially offer trainees an alternative to US-based programs. Lee says Chinese aviation schools meet high standards, though they have to ensure the whole program for Hong Kong trainees is conducted in English. The Academy is investing in educational technology and is planning to install advanced flight simulators in Hong Kong, as well as implement AI systems to analyze student performance. These tools will identify individual learning gaps through coded assessment tracking, enabling personalized instruction. While currently focused on local recruitment, the Academy has long-term ambitions to attract international students, with plans to upgrade residential facilities and streamline visa processes for future intake. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
The government has proposed legislative changes to step up fee transparency in private healthcare services. Under the plan, if final charges exceed the original estimate by more than 20%, providers must give patients a written explanation. Some lawmakers expressed concerns that private doctors may inflate quotes to avoid justifying higher final bills. The Health Bureau earlier submitted proposals to the Legislative Council suggesting legislation to improve transparency in private medical charges. The proposed rules would require private hospitals, day procedure centers, and clinics to publish fee schedules in a standardized format, listing basic services and the most common treatments and procedures. Healthcare service providers must issue a cost estimate when patients undergo specified treatments. Should the final bill exceed the estimate by more than 20%, the service providers must give a written explanation. They would also be required to report annual data such as charges, average hospital stay length, and fee ranges. Some lawmakers say greater transparency will encourage more patients to consider private healthcare and help ease pressure on the public system. But lawmaker Chan Ho-yen warns that doctors may give inflated quotes to avoid having to explain higher costs later and in case complications arise after the treatments. She added that's also because hospitals want to minimize time costs incurred by report writing by doctors and hospital administrators. The insurance sector, meanwhile, hopes standardized quote forms will help patients compare prices. Insurance sector lawmaker Chan Kim-por said they have observed that doctors often charge their patients' fees close to their insurance policy's maximum coverage. Ironically, having insurance coverage can make treatments more expensive, driving up the overall amount of claims. He said clearer pricing can help curb rising hospital fees and cut the necessary procedures to help slow the rise in insurance premiums over the long run. Hong Kong's first Chinese medicine hospital is expected to enter into service this December and will operate under a public-private partnership program. Hospital fees will be announced in September at the earliest. Located in Tseung Kwan O, the hospital offers a host of services including general outpatient services, referrals as well as hospitalization. Despite primarily employing Chinese medicinal practices, the facility will also use devices more commonly used in Western medicine, such as X-rays and magnetic resonance imaging, or MRI. The Chinese Medicine Hospital will offer several training programs, including a year-long part-time Chinese medical care training course, which aims to ensure an adequate supply of manpower for the facility. And that's the news. Have a great week ahead.